The world is healing. That's right. Sydney Sweeney is restoring normalcy to the world, shrugging off the ridiculous PC that's been destroying free speech and free choice in this country for a very long time. You don't have to be mocked anymore for choosing to believe something differently, or at least be able to bring the facts to the table. It's going to be a definite struggle, and we need to keep making it, but I'm going to tell you right now, Sydney Sweeney seems unstoppable. So let's look at everything that's been happening. Here we go. Let's start first with the ridiculous. CNN is probably one of the most corrupt news organizations, as you can see here, and we've known that for a very long time, 20 years in fact, just how corrupt they are. But then again, so are almost all news agencies at this point, especially the news wires like AP. But the Jeans Ad controversy is only a controversy to a select few, a bunch of whiners, a bunch of crybabies, and apparently CNN, who describes it as the entire Sydney Sweeney Jeans Ad disaster explained. They made money. They sold out in one day. Their stock price jumped over 16%. They are still having winning days after this whole thing occurred, and I would say other companies are already following. A quick example is that you got ridiculous stuff happening, according to the New York Post, with an ex-teacher getting roasted after claiming she was traumatized by Sydney Sweeney ad. Traumatized. Yeah, trauma is a word that's been used far too often in the last 6 to 10 years. The people who are describing trauma are just a little upset at things. They're just a little crybaby, and they don't have any emotional control or maturity. So set that all aside. She used Sydney's rump for a trauma dump, according to the article here. An ex-New Jersey teacher turned lifestyle influencer is getting roasted online for turning Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle ad into a therapy session, with a post claiming she feels unattractive because of her skin color and a repost of it calling her a professional victim went viral. Yeah, going out to find some harm in something that other people find, well, joy in or satisfaction in, or, well, they just find it to be a good article is absolutely ridiculous. This Payel Desai of Medford said in an Instagram post on Tuesday, just a few days ago, obviously, at this point,
To me, I can't help but think about the 13-year-old brown girl who gets all of her denim at American Eagle, who already struggles to see her beauty and worth in a world that continues to value white, Eurocentric beauty standards.
seriously. Look, if you have trouble finding some kind of self-worth, you need to be in therapy, and a good one. Not one of these, wackadoos who are just going to feed into your victimhood. You need to find somebody authentic who understands that you're looking for victimhood in everything. Sydney Sweeney's ad, as you can see here, is just an affirmation of good genes. Good genes look good on everybody. At least that's what American Eagle says, and we'll get to that part of the story in just a moment. But trying to be a victim because of a jeans ad, especially the television video version of it, which is just conveying a point, yeah, she looks good in jeans. But she also has good genes as well. And maybe this lady does too. But you would never know it because she's too busy trying to claim the victim. Of course, beyond that is the statement coming out of American Eagle. From the Hollywood Reporter, American Eagle responds to Sydney Sweeney Jeans ad amid controversy. Do you know what their reaction was? Sydney Sweeney has great genes, is and always was about the jeans. Yeah, and you know what? It worked. It plays on multiple levels. It's a double entendre if you want it to be, but it's about the jeans. Well, and so it's also about the money, because this ad made a boatload of money, and it doesn't look like American Eagle Outfitters is out there to apologize. In fact, I would guess they never will. And that brings us to the final point. Corporations will not be fooled again, and they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be suffering under the weight of the foolhardy, which they've been doing for the better part of a decade, and costing enormous amounts of sales. It's pretty easy to sell to Americans. You lean into American culture. You don't try to form some nasty stupidity out of the neo-Marxists and their, well, super politically correct, ignorant ideology, which is all that it actually is. But from the Post again, fool me once, corporate America is not falling for the left's outrage over Sydney Sweeney's good jeans ad. No, they're not. And neither is American Outfitters. The left is trying its best to stir up a furor over the recent Sydney Sweeney jeans. Or is it jeans? It wouldn't matter anyway. The TV commercial is set to ignite a backlash similar to the Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light debacle, except that it's on the smaller side of the equation, the 20%, not the 80% of the people who are actually, using their brain to think with. So sorry, progressives, it ain't happening. And it's not. And you're going to see more and more of these commercials and a return to normalcy, as I said in the beginning of the video. Yes, there's lots of chirping from the lefty columnists. Let them. It just goes to show just how, well, irrelevant they are these days. I'm sure you would agree. It shows, just how ignorant and irrelevant the late night talk show hosts are as well, because they're going to be dipping more than a toe into this furor for at least another week, showing just how ignorant they are of the people that they claim are their audience, which there isn't much left. The purple-haired TikTok influencers, late night hosts who are still employed, and assorted wokesters after the American Eagle had the audacity to feature an attractive blonde-haired, blue-eyed actress expressing her sartorial flair in a pair of tight-fitting blue jeans, which sold out immediately. Jeans are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My jeans are blue, the Euphoria star said, which I think if they try to force her off the show, there will be a bigger uproar than about the stupid jeans commercial. Blonde women, blue-eyed, good jeans. I mean, jeans. Oh, the horror! Truly, the horror. That's if you were listening to the leftist commentariat that still hasn't piped down weeks after the spot first appeared. The lefties are freaking because they think the jeans company is looking to bring back the bad old days, the pre-George Floyd overdose days. Of course, when white blonde oppressors ruled over American culture. Well, yeah, because they're the dominant aspect of that culture. Again, being on the wrong side of any 80-20 issue is bad enough, but being the 3% on something like this is the worst yet. And this is about where all of these people are going to find themselves very soon. And they're trying to take action in other places, but that's a story for another day, and it involves video games and the likelihood that a lot of corporations are going to start losing customers for that very reason. Not just the video games, but all kinds of censorship that they're trying to invoke from the private sector. We'll see how that goes. The worst part of this is that Americans of all colors don't actually care. They don't care at all. They know good jeans when they see them, and they buy them. And when they have a good ad behind them, they buy them even faster. Because, I mean, who doesn't want a pair of jeans that makes your young lady in your life look like, well, Sydney Sweeney, even though she may not even be able to? One of the great part of this article actually is this paragraph. We are a diverse country, and that's good. It is. The wokesters take it at a level that excludes rather than includes. Also true. Good-looking white people, particularly if their hair is that evil shade known as blonde, are nowhere near the intersectional matrix they demand for hiring or image making in their vision of America, which is why you are hard-pressed to find white people in any commercials these days. let alone in the traditional roles that they've filled as character actors for a long period of time. That's why Sydney Sweeney, known more for her cleavage than her politics, has become a touchstone in our culture wars, and here's why the attacks won't work. Wokeness was once big in the business world, but notice my use of the past tense. Corporate America listened to these kooks for many years, including their own progressive management leanings, with disastrous results. And when you go to censor people, you're going to have more disaster. MasterCard and Visa. Again, a story for another time. They learned the hard way that most Americans of all races hate being proselytized with political dogma, particularly of the left-wing variety that pushes the limits of identity and gender politics beyond cultural norms or what anybody is even willing to tolerate anymore. Get woke, go broke, the inside story of the radicalization of corporate America, written by the author of this article, was basically breaking down DEI and how they tried to make it the norm. Fast forward to the point of rationality, that's right, the Budweiser disaster. Budweiser thought its customers were ready for a commercial featuring a half-naked person, I'll say, in a bubble bath, pretending to be something they weren't, having a different experience anyway. Disney decided it could sell more kids programming featuring same-sex kissing, which was not true, and money managers like BlackRock thought they could increase returns by advocating for some fringe environmentalism and de facto racial quotas on their portfolio companies, which also proved to be disaster because instead of merit, you went for skin color, and that's not always going to work out. In fact, it rarely does. At the end of the day, shares of American Eagle are up since the Sydney Sweeney ad, despite the backlash, which is true, and why marketing professor Eaton Mueller points out the obvious, telling Fox Business's Tweta Dedvukya that the commercial attracts attention, gives Google searches, and boosts the brand. Yes, she does have a great jeans, and it rings authentic. That's what you want from an ad. So at the end of the day, if your ad draws attention and it resonates with the most amount of people, you're going to win. You can't usually do that with neo-Marxist politics because, well, there's nothing but bad ideas there that we're trying to reinvent with a different spin each and every time. Same thing with socialism, communism, you name it. They all lead to some form of isolated dictatorship, and that's absolutely the last thing that Americans want. Americans want freedom, freedom of choice and opportunity, and that comes along with good old-fashioned being American, at least when you're unfettered by, well, a lot of this garbage politics. So, congratulations to Sydney Sweeney and to American Eagle. Many happy returns and similar commercials, because I think you'll find at the end of the rainbow, there's going to be a huge pot of gold. That's my thoughts for the day on the Sydney Sweeney controversy. What are yours? Let me know your thoughts at the comments section down below. Are you excited about this ad? Do you think it's effective? Do you think this will help American Eagle outfitters? Do you think other companies will start to mimic this? Do you think we'll get back to the heart of the 80s when things really started to pick up and most everybody was back to being positive? Again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. As always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya! Maybe in a new pair of jeans.